Today's talk is mining for treasures. But first, let me talk to you about mining. Have you ever tried moving dirt? It's incredibly heavy. I once had to dig a hole 7 feet in diameter by 10 feet deep. I did it with a shovel. I was so sore by the end of that. I mean, that is an incredible task, moving that much dirt. But when we dig, when we are mining, it's not an easy task. It takes some strength to do it. Now, when we want to go really deep, to get the really deep treasures, we usually get ourselves some equipment. So we dig down, and then we get some big timbers and put them up to support the hole we just dug. And then we go down in there as deep as we have to find the mother lode, and that's how they do mining. Well, the type of mining I'm talking about pretty much works the same. When we are mining for the riches within us, we still have to dig down. We still have to build that spiritual muscle to do it. Because the real riches are down deep within us. Gurdjieff said, consciousness cannot evolve unconsciously. We have to bring our awareness, our consciousness, our muscle to a task that sometimes feels very hard. Because the greatest riches lie just beneath our most vulnerable buttons, wounds, triggers, whatever you want to call them. Our greatest treasures, what awaits us in terms of the riches of our lives, lies just beneath the places we don't want to go. The places that when our buttons get pushed, our triggers are triggered, our wounds show up. They're so sensitive. That's when we say stuff like, I didn't sign up for this. We get all upset and go, this is no good. I'm not doing this. And we want to run for the hills. And that is where the treasure is. It's lying just beneath that spot. Now, sometimes we're not ready to face those treasures. We're just not ready. So as much as it is true, if we go find a new partner, if we change location, if we change jobs, the same wound is going to pop up because it is still ours to deal with. The treasure is still there awaiting us. We have to build the spiritual muscle that makes us prepared to face it, that makes us ready to heal, which is a much better word than deal, to heal what it is that needs healing within us. So when we're dealing with these deep, dark places, our spiritual practice is everything. That is the heavy equipment. That is the timbers that hold up the way, the walkway for us to get to the motherlode. It is our spiritual practice that allows us to stand in the face of our deepest wounds and blow on them the way some of you may have experienced as a kid, scraping your knee and your mother blowing on the wound saying, there, does that feel better? Or maybe you've done that for your child. But that's what we can do for ourselves. When we get down into that place where it is so sensitive, where we are so triggered, where we want to do anything else but be there. And yet there is where the treasure lies. The richness. That when we step through that wound, we gain this glorious new way of being in life. We're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is not what I expected at all. Joseph Campbell tells us where we stumble, that is where the treasure lies. And the stumbling occurs at those places that are the most sensitive. So being, as I speak about every week, being steeped in a spiritual practice, as I know we are, is the first key to this whole thing, because it's really hard to face those sensitive wounds without that. I mean, I don't even know if it's possible. It probably is. But having that spiritual strength to bring to that emotional vulnerability is so powerful to help us stand in that place of, oh my God, this hurts. Oh my God, I want to run for the hills. I want to be any other place but here. Man, I can't even tell you the amount of times I have heard in my own head say, I want to be any other place but here. I am out of here, man. Forget this. I am gone. Right? And yet, I know that when I have hung in there, when I have stayed, not just in upset, but steeped myself in the stillness of my spiritual practice. I spoke a couple of weeks ago that self-talk may get us to stay, but that it is a true inspiring vision that allows us to heal. And that is what's called for here, to actually reach the treasure. The treasure of health. The treasure of love. The treasure of forgiveness. The treasure of light. The treasure of wholeness. These treasures lie right in us, awaiting our excavation, awaiting our willingness to face our darkest and deepest places. I remember a time when I had terrible bouts of depression. Sometimes they go on for 6, 8 months. This was in my early 20s. It was a very long time ago. And I was not on any medication. I did see some therapists. I didn't feel like I was making any progress. So one day, I'm sitting in my apartment, feeling tremendously depressed. And I said to myself, I can't live this way. I cannot continue like this. Something has to give. And so I made a commitment to myself to sit in the middle of my living room and not move unless one of a few things happened. I died or I shifted. But I was not going to move until my life changed. That this depression would stand no longer in my life. The first day passed. I fell asleep right there on the floor. Woke up the next morning, still sitting in the same spot. I started feeling even more depressed the second day, that nothing had changed. But was determined not to move. And I sat there with all the thoughts running through my mind about what made me depressed. All the things going on about how horrible my life was. I sat there and fell asleep. I woke up the third day. I woke up laughing that I had actually sat there for 3 days. I thought it was hilarious. I woke up laughing. I, who had gone through bouts that had lasted 6 months, went through my darkest wound of thinking this was never going to end, and came out the other side in only 3 days. I got up, washed myself off, and knew from then forward that depression was not, because what I learned is that one of the reasons my depression lasts so long was because I was depressed about being depressed, thinking it would never end. And now I knew that wasn't true. I had had a personal experience, and I never had a bout of depression that lasted longer than a few days ever again. Simply by being willing to face that darkest place within me and not move until something shifted. It is through our stillness we get our greatest movement. It is through our stillness our greatest treasures are possible to be ours. That treasure that day of knowing that depression no longer had a hold on me was incredible, and has served me the rest of my days. No matter what trigger, wound, button, whatever you want to call it, that you face, that you may be sitting there going, I can't be here for this, I am out of here. I tell you that sitting there is your greatest possibility for healing. It is your greatest tool to heal what feels unhealable. It is you breathing life, blowing on the wound with the love and the light that is yours to give to you. Do not run or be afraid of those vulnerable places. They are where the treasure is. Go for the treasure. Go for the treasure. It's awaiting you within you. Go for the treasure. Let's have a meditation on this. Sit back, take a deep breath, and relax. And as we always do, find yourself on a path. It is the perfect path. It is your path. The sights, the sounds, the beautiful, healing, and perfect for you. Imagine you come to an opening. It is your sanctuary. The view, the sights, the sounds, the air against your skin, the light, all perfect. How it feels underneath your feet as you walk to the most perfect, comfortable chair. You feel the as you sit. Take another deep breath and relax even deeper. Imagine yourself going down into a mine shaft within you. It is safe. It is well built because your spiritual practice built it. At the end of this mine shaft is a very sensitive spot on your heart. Walk up to it and blow on it. Breathe on it. The life and love, the divine. Imagine that spot healing. And as it heals, you step through it as if it was just a veil. Imagine yourself stepping through this sensitive, vulnerable place of your heart. And imagine on the other side a room full of riches, your riches. Have these riches be whatever that means to you. You yourself embody these riches right here and right now. Now, from this place of embodiment, imagine your whole being emanating light, as if you have just become a star. Thank yourself for this magnificent experience of healing. And when you are ready, open your eyes.